even when I'm down. Got my head in the clouds and my feet on the ground. I got big dreams, gonna make them true.
Yeah, we got big dreams here in the Genius Lab. Toby Christensen here, and thank you so much for being here in the Genius Lab studio with me, where we help you realize your greatness. Today, we are going to talk about trust the process. One of the things about realizing your greatness is that you can be in your greatness regardless of the results of the things that you do. In other words, in our modern society, when we look at someone who is in their greatness, we expect them to be, handsome, fit, rich, stylish. We have this image of what greatness is, and those are all. I call it Western propaganda. The pressure that our female population is under to be a size 1 or 2, which is what we see in the magazines. A lot of that is changing now, but for decades it has been brutal on those who don't fit in. Us guys, 6-pack abs, man. I'm in my early 60s. I don't have a 6-pack ab, I sometimes feel pressured to do that. I stay fit. I work out 3-4 days a week, and I'll go up against most 40-year-olds, but I'm not like I was back in my 30s. And sometimes I put a lot of pressure on myself to be that way. And so we're under a lot of pressure to define our greatness by our bank accounts or by our pant size or whatever. So the thing that I want to say is that even in your greatness, shit happens. Okay? Even in your greatness, things go wrong. And wrong meaning not wrong as in eternal damnation, but wrong as in not the way you planned it. I define success as things happening in alignment with your desired outcome. Okay? So it doesn't matter. Success isn't, when you hit a $1 billion net worth, you are now successful. No, there's not a marker. It's like, what did you want to have happen? If it happened, you are successful. If it didn't happen, you were not successful at that particular desired outcome. But that's why we learn when we're in our greatness, we learn to shift and move and go with the flow. So today's podcast is called Trust the Process. And I had a situation happen recently, and I became overwhelmed with discouragement. And I tell you, that does not happen very often with me. I mean, I can count on one hand in the last 10 years, how many times that has happened. But I was so looking forward to a particular commitment someone had made. I knew in my heart of hearts that it was going to happen. And then they completely ghosted me. And I was devastated. I was so utterly disappointed. And I really threw myself into a tailspin, temporarily, of course. This happened yesterday, and I'm fine today. But the bottom line is, there was a few hours there where I felt really shitty. I wanted to just get out a bottle of bourbon and empty it, and I'm like, well, that won't be helpful. So I made some mate instead and just caffeined out. But the point is, the thing that I did was I started self-coaching. Okay. And this is what I do when I start to spin, or when I'm frustrated about something or things aren't working out. And I started self-coaching. And the first thing I do when I coach people and they're in a time of distress is I talk to them about their core values and their core beliefs. So what is my core belief? My core belief is that the universe has my back and everything works out for the best possible outcome, even if I don't understand it. Okay? So I talk to my Christian friends and they're freaking out. God has a plan for your life. Yes, of course, God has a plan for it. Then this is part of the plan. Relax. Oh, when you put it in the terms, my new agey friends, are like the universe has the plan. Okay, good. Then this is the universe's plan, because your plan and the universe's plan are not in sync right now. And that's what's causing the friction. So you need to decide which is more important. Are you going to fight through your plan, or are you going to go with the flow? Are you going to trust the process? So, in my Eastern friends talk about karma, and they're freaking out. And I'm like, well, if this is just burning off karma, let's say something bad happens or something not in alignment with their desired outcome happens, and they're frustrated or mad about it. Well, hey, if you believe in karma, right? So yeah. So the net result of this is that you're either burning off karma from a past life, or you have created some karma in this life so you're burning off karma. Hallelujah. This is really, alhamdulillah, however you say what you say, right? But the bottom line is, trust the process. Sometimes the best possible plans, the best laid plans, right? They just don't work out. Sometimes, even though you had all the information that was available at the time you made the plans, you got more information later and you didn't realize some things were the way they were, and damn, it didn't work out. Other times you put your faith in someone to follow through with what they say they're going to do, and they don't do it. Sometimes they appear to be as invested as you in a particular outcome, and then they just drop the ball. Sometimes shit happens, sometimes things just go wrong. You can't predict it. You can't figure it out. No matter how many calculations you do, it doesn't add up, and it just happens. So the bottom line is, realize, if you look over every situation in your life, it has always worked out. Right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So things have worked out. Okay, maybe they haven't been the way that you've wanted them to work out. Okay, maybe you did not get your desired outcome. Maybe you did not get whatever or do whatever, or maybe somebody let you down, or on and on and on, right? But the bottom line is, in the end, it all worked out. How many times have you gone after a job, okay, and you didn't get the job? And then you talk to some people from the company that you applied for, and they're like, oh, guess what? It's really a good thing you didn't take that job, because we're closing our doors and we didn't realize that the company was bankrupt. Okay. Or you don't get the job and you're like, what am I going to do? And somebody comes along and offers you a better one. How many times has that happened in your life? I've certainly had it happen. All right. Maybe you've got a deal that falls through. And I remember back in my athletic shoe days, we used to sell closeouts, and we would sell shoes that wholesaled for $35, $40. We'd sell them for $10. And I remember this one company wanted to buy like 5,000 pair. This would have been a great commission, right? 5,000 pair. And then they turned around at the very last minute and doubled down on their deal and backed out. And I was so disappointed. So I called another buyer from another company and sold the shoes for $3 a pair more, which was all my commission, and then upped it to 15,000 pair. And I was so glad that first deal fell through, even though when it fell through, I was so bummed because I didn't know there was something better. Okay. Same with the relationship. How many times have you, tried to get together with a certain person, and then you find out, like a month later, you see them in a different environment and you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not in a relationship with that person. Or somebody breaks up with you and you're heartbroken. And then like a month later, you're like, oh my God, who is that person I was dating? I don't even recognize them. They're crazy. And you're so glad that relationship didn't work. So trust the process. Okay. This is something that in the moment seems ridiculous to me. To me anyway, yesterday, it seemed ridiculous to go trust the process because the process was not giving me what I wanted, and I wanted this thing to work, damn it. But in the long run, I just got off the phone with a person that I'm working on this project with. And it was so funny because she's like, hey, you know what? Everything's going to work out fine. This person is not the only source of funding for this music project. And you know what? We're going to find someone else. And if he follows through, then we just might have to tell him it's not the right one, not the right funder, not the right person to be involved in this, not the right energy. So this is it's a real key thing that will help keep you centered and keep you in a state of mind that will keep you calm even when it seems like things are falling apart. Okay. One of the things that I started to think of yesterday was I went global. Okay. And when you go global, it's called a global presupposition. You know, everything is rotten. Every person is a lying idiot. I can never, ever trust anybody ever again. See the whole global thing, right? So whenever you go global, you know that you're completely full of shit. Okay. That's a good sign that you've kind of lost your way and that you're not in a grounded state. So when you start to read they called tells, it's like in poker, everybody has a tell. If they've got a good hand, they do a certain thing. They might rub their eyebrow or adjust their glasses. Or if they've got a bad hand, they might, tap on the table or whatever. When you learn your tells, okay, and one of my tells is going global, I know that I'm off base when that happens. So what I do is I start going back to trust the process. Trust the process. There's an energy, a consciousness in the universe that is much bigger than me. Okay. And if I am in a relationship with that consciousness, we'll call it divine source. That way we're not getting into any kind of religion-based stuff. But if I am connected to divine source, I am going to be taken care of. It may not happen the way that I think it should. Now, one of the things that I did was I also realized that this triggered a bunch of stuff from the past. So I've been trained in this really awesome, there's an organization called 220, and they have developed these amazing techniques. I got certified about 1.5 years ago and have been doing this work since then. And it's really powerful. One of them is a, negative emotion clearing process. And so what I did, I realized that a lot of what was happening in not trusting the process really had to do with things in the past where past betrayals or disappointments came up. And so I went back and I ran the protocol on those negative emotions, got rid of them. And then I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm completely fine with what happened. Because I was only dealing with this situation. I wasn't dealing with this situation plus 10 things that happened in my past. So if you have a tendency to get sprung or to get spun out easily when things don't go the way that you want them to, there are some really powerful tools that you can use to help you out. The main thing is trust the process. Trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. I guarantee you, one way or another, it will all work out and you will be better off for the experience. I know this sounds like a typical cliche, but I'm telling you, trust the process. And if you realize that you're hanging on to old baggage that's causing you distress, get in touch with me. Let's run the negative emotion clearing process on you, make it better, make you happier, and keep you looking up. Have a great day.